I want to move on to the economy now because figures show that the UK is in a recession after the economy shrunk by a larger than expected 0.3% between October and December last year. It also failed to grow in the quarter before that, between July and September. That comes, as it's understood, the Chancellor's room for tax cuts in the upcoming budget is said to have been cut. The Office of Budget Responsibility told the Treasury that the Chancellor only has about £12 billion of headroom, that's money to spend, without breaching his own monetary rules. Here is the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, speaking earlier.
We always expected growth to be weaker while we prioritise tackling inflation. That means higher interest rates. And that's the right thing to do because you can't have long-term healthy growth with high inflation, but also for families when there's a cost of living crisis, when the cost of their weekly shop is going up, their energy bills are much higher. It's the right thing to do. The underlying picture here is an economy that is more resilient than most people predicted. Inflation is coming down. Real wages have been going up now for 6 months.
Well, I'm joined now by Jonathan Davis, economist, wealth advisor and author of the Boom and Bust Report. Hello, Jonathan.
Hi, Rick.
Good to speak to you tonight. Now, is the UK economy actually looking better than many big economies when we look ahead to the rest of 2024 with a 0.7% growth forecast?
Well, they can forecast what they want. They forecasted we wouldn't go into recession, and we've gone into recession. No, we're not looking any better. We're not looking any worse. China's in recession, Japan's in recession, the EU's in recession, and although the bean counters haven't yet called America in recession, I believe that they will. That it started at the end of 2023. My forecast is that we continue to be in gentle recession, which means prolonged, for much of 2024.
Now, the other link...
The issue, Rick, the issue is 5% interest rates.
Yeah.
We went 0% to 5.25% in 15 months. And in a society, in an economy which lives on an ocean of debt, whether it's government, corporate, or households, that's the issue. And interest rates remain high.
And are we expecting, do you think, to see an interest rate cut in the middle of the year? I heard tonight the economist Julian Jessup was on Kate's show a bit earlier, suggesting that inflation will be down below 2% by April.
Well, we're at 4% consumer price index just now. That is really going some. The inflation would come down 2% over the next 3 months. I think that's unlikely.
Yeah.
But yes,
that's not falling off a cliff. That's falling off a volcano.
Indeed. It seems to me that most developed countries' central banks, including the European Central Bank for the whole of the euro area, is actually following the lead of the Federal Reserve in the United States.
Yeah.
And Jerome Powell, the chairman there, he's very happy not to reduce interest rates. I think he probably will by June or July. But in America, they're only looking, I think, at 3, maybe 4 0.25% cuts by the end of the year. And that's probably similar in the United Kingdom. So, if that's true, and I think it is, then we'll go from 5.25% to 4.5% or 4.25%. Mortgage rates are going to come down a bit, for example. Corporate loan rates are going to come down a bit. But again, it doesn't change the fact that we are on an ocean of debt.
Now, Jonathan, try and excite people if you can, on a Thursday night. Because the other big story today that's kind of linked to this is that Jeremy Hunt has now got just £12 billion worth of headroom, down from £24 billion for tax cuts. What can £12 billion do for you and I?
They could, of course, reduce income tax, national insurance, by a little. But again, how does that compare with, for example, in 2023 and 2024, some 2 million households are seeing their monthly mortgage payments rise 50 to 75%. We're seeing a couple of £100 billion of commercial real estate property loans, which have to be reset this year. A couple of £100 billion, when the rate was 4% 5 years ago, it's now 8 or 10%. You want me to excite? I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. The politicians created this inflation. They created the high interest rate. They obviously don't set the rates. And unfortunately, the 90% of the population, that's you and me, pay for their mistakes.
I suppose it is fair to say that interest rates have gone up around the world, though, and not just in the UK. How much does, when we hear these figures, about 12 billion, 24 billion, how much does the Chancellor make up his own rules, or how much is it actually the Office for Budget Responsibility who decides this?
Oh, it's the politicians who decide. I mean, the office is a load of bureaucrats who are trying to get peerages and gongs and other big jobs elsewhere. So no, I certainly would not go with the notion that they're in charge. On the contrary, no, it's the politicians who are in charge. They're the ones who created the mess. We're the ones who are paying for it, as I just said.
Jonathan, the response from Labour today, Rachel Reeves, you may have spotted it, said other countries have brought down price rises an awful lot better than we have in Britain. Do you think that's true? And if so, how?
Only as far as I can see in relation to energy costs for businesses and households. We certainly haven't brought down energy costs. We should have done, because gas on global markets and is down to the price of 5 years ago, and oil is back down to 2020 levels, which is 4 years ago, 3.5 years. So for whatever political shenanigans, we haven't had the reductions passed on to us. But that's energy. In terms of food and transportation, I don't see there's been any difference around the world. We are actually seeing some areas, unfortunately, picking up again in cost and inflation, much to do with the Houthis pirating ships in the Red Sea. So ships have to divert to the south of Africa, which adds a lot of time and a lot of expense to goods, therefore, that we're going to buy in the shops. But no, the energy thing it appears to be a uniquely British thing, but generally speaking, no, I don't think other countries are doing anything in particular different to us, apart from energy.
Jonathan, thanks so much for your time tonight. Good to speak to you.